Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody, wherever you're at in the world. Swift Community Live here with Nathan, Guerra, Dave, Towle next to me, and we are in with the WTRL Team Time Trial number 112. Well over, I think we've done over a full 52 1 year of broadcasting these, and this is in the middle of summer. We still have over 400 teams signed up today. It's pretty awesome that this is such a popular thing. And we've got 3 featured teams as well in our latte. Think about that, Dave. In the latte class, for our featured in the Platinum League, these are the best of the best in the team time trial every single week qualifying. For those that do not know, San Sequoias, 2 laps. But I mean, in a C category type race, we've got, top teams competing and huge amounts of participants from all over the world. And we're in the outdoor season. It's so cool as far as what WTRL has done, as well as how the sport is growing. I would say there's that point as well, that this is a genre in of itself. And then you're jumping on a plane later at night to go do a pro race at Tulsa Tough. It's so cool, the crossover, Dave.
It is. And, Nathan, our pre-race, pre-show chat had so much energy, and I could just feel it coming out of you as far as the excitement and getting out there. You had a great group ride with some friends last night. And I tell you what, what we're doing here with WTRL, this was the litmus test for me. This really matters to me. I could have asked today to skip, Nathan, and got an earlier flight, but I wouldn't even think about it. There's no way I want to miss one of these days of racing. I kind of chuckled when you said we're into our first full year, because we are now, and this is a big part of our lives as well. So big thank you to Martin and Steven and everyone at WTRL and this racers like Nathan this morning. Here in Colorado, I know you're in Wisconsin, but I'm guessing it's hot there too. Most of our riders are in Northern Hemisphere, so I hope that you've got a Wahoo headwind or you're somehow a good fan system, because it's going to be a little tougher than normal with that. But you know what? These folks are salt of the earth Swifters and WTRL riders. So can't wait to get you all out there. And I'm stoked to meet Crush Pod again. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Nate. This is a different Crush Pod group, right? This is Crush Pod 2?
Crush Pod 2. Yeah, Crush Pod 2. We there was the original Crush Pod is what we were in with last time. But no, now we're in with Crush Pod 2. We've also got a feature with the Emus as well as Vikings Valhalla. So Cryogen is in there. Crush Pod is in there, and then Vikings. This is some of the mainstays of the WTRL TTT, as well as the entirety of the Zwift community racing within this C/latte category.
Yeah, we have some fantastic athletes. Now, this is a feature that Nathan, and believe me, folks, this is kind of the secret sauce, to tell you the truth, of WTRL and the broadcast is Nathan has been able to go above and beyond and connect with the teams. We'll get bios from the riders, and we'll learn more about them. And hopefully we just really dig more in depth with these teams. If your team wants to do that at some point in the future, first off, congratulations, you qualified for Platinum. That's awesome. And once you get into Platinum, this is one of the, I guess, what would we call it? A perk, right? Nathan, you've always been super open to teams that want to do this. And once you're in Platinum League, just reach out. We'll make it happen the next time you come up in the rotation. And that's another thing that we love. We've been able to cover all of these different groups. We don't just focus on the very, very high end. We want to get a look at everybody racing their hearts out.
100%. Now, a couple other things that are going on throughout the broadcast with that are mainstays as well of the WTRL TTT. We have a poster competition, a little bit quieter in the summer when it comes to the competitions, but it's almost brought out a little extra spice to it. It seems like there's some pretty cool artwork going on back there. The Chronicle is always a part of it. They're on the weekly. They're essentially the Post at this point of the WTRL TTT. And then we've also got course records that we are going to be able to show you. We've got our features. So definitely make sure to be on the lookout for the poster competition. And if you want to be a part of that, jump on into the WTRL Facebook group. If you haven't joined the group, head on over there and you can get updates on everything that's going on. WTRL.racing is always a place that you can go for all of that stuff. And if you are watching in chat, no, we can see all your chat. And we do like to bring in any questions, comments, or anything like that. That is pertinent to the broadcast. But Since there were only 2 posters this week, we've got 2 winners. That's just how it's going to go. So, and of course, the Chronicle will go ahead and bring them on in. Dirt Digglers, the secret of the magic Watt potion. I don't know what this is, Avi, honestly.
Hold on. This is unbelievable. You know how, Nathan, a lot of times, like Land of the Lost or those things, you'd get excited. You're like, oh my God, you're touching my childhood. Nathan, this one's mine. I love Asterix and Obelix and Getafix, who's the wizard. I have the entire Asterix collection. I have every single one made. I gathered them on YouTube on eBay as an adult. So absolutely, this one wins. 100%.
Did they know? Did they know that you have this?
They
didn't know that you have this. Unless they've been spying on you.
My computer. No, absolutely. I've never talked about Asterix here before. I talked about it with Matt Stevens once off air. But no, this is so cool. I'm in love with this one. So this is not only my winner for today, this is my all-time greatest, the GOAT.
The GOAT. This is the GOAT of all time. Nice. Absolutely loving it. And then I don't know what is going on here. I think I may have gotten a message from Martin about this. But no, I did not. I just got a message about the pickle on the right-hand side there. But this is Team SZ Waffles. Now, there is a team, Swedish Swifters, upper left-hand is their logo. And they have a team named Waffles. I don't know why there's a pickle on the right-hand side. I'm not sure if the waffles are... I don't know what's going on with the pickle. But the pickle is actually a Swedish pastry is what I'm seeing. TSZ Punch Roll. Dammsugare. That doesn't look like a Swedish word.
It's not a pickle. Let's backpedal a little.
Oh, it's a pastry? Oh, it's damn sugar? That's not, you're telling me to swear now, Martin? What is going on?
Who knew? Yeah. So this will go down as our all-time greatest pre-show because we all thought that was a pickle, and then someone referred to it as a gherkin. Yeah. So and I was thinking like, hey, waffles and chicken. I could see pickles getting thrown into that mix somehow, but things are coming very, very clear. What a morning! What a day we have had.
I don't know. Things just got more confusing for me. I don't know about you.
So we get to go, Nathan, to Sand and Sequoias, which is my default course. You kind of actually, when I first level 34 Zwifter today, right here, this guy, baby. 34.
There we go.
So that being said, I rode Sand and Sequoias more than anywhere else. It's such a fun, it's your Land of the Lost course, which is an old reference here on our WTRL broadcast. I asked a friend here in my bike club if I should watch the movie. She's a parent of a couple kids, and she said, "You're probably okay. You're probably good." And I had to say, I kind of had that feeling, to tell you the truth. But I do appreciate the dinosaurs, and it's a throwback course, and it's perfect for what we're doing today. On the long side,
it
42K,
is,
right?
42K, pretty flat up front, but there is a little bump in there in the middle with the KOM. So not very steep overall gradient, but definitely a good course. They are going to be out there for a little while, though, being 42K. I mean, if we do take a look at the course records real quickly here, that is going to help us out to give us an idea of where things stand as far as that goes. Course records out here. Sox for Watts currently holding it down with 58 minutes in the Vienna Espresso for the women. Aeonian RT with Vienna Frappe. Then we've got AHGR Purple Armada holding down the Vienna Lattes, where we will be in today. So be on the watch out for that latte. That is where we are going to be featuring in with today. Vienna for the women, there were Dutch Diesel Cycling Atomic Spice with 107. Dopios, WTRL Volendam. It's been a long time since I've seen Volendam hanging out, Dave, and they've got a 53.27. I'm wondering, I even think Volendam, either they split up and got drafted into Premier Division type, not like another team, or rebranded, because that's old school right there. And we'll see if maybe that can get taken down. I mean, we've got some pretty fast teams out here today. We'll see if the Platinum League can challenge, but 53 is flying. TSC La Bamba, 55.08. Frappe's there with HGR1. Viking Valhalla, our featured team, actually have the record. So
Oh,
be on the watch out for them. 1 hour flat, and we'll see if 1 hour not flat, 36 seconds on the back end of that. But and then it's going to be TBR Z6M1. Always the Star Wars bot reference for me whenever I see that.
rare. I know. Didn't we joke about that? But rarely in the Vikings Valhalla situation, Nathan, do you get to race against your ghost. They get to do that today.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that ends up playing out. So those are the course records. We can jump down into the racing in just a moment here. Again, if you do have some chat coming on through, I am watching the Twitch, the YouTube, as well as Facebook, places that we are live. And it does look like we do have GWRT, I believe it is, are down on to just starting their go into Titans Grove at this point. If you're unfamiliar with San Sequoias, they do take on the Fuego Flats, the flattest section of all of Watopia out in the deserts, one of the expansions to the Watopia world. And then you take a right-hand turn off of Fuego Flats and into the Titans Grove, where you can find Jarvis the Bear right after the KOM. Instead of taking this left-hand turn, which would head over toward Watopia Mountain as well as Ocean Boulevard, they are going to go right into Titans Grove and find a whole lot of dinosaurs and a T-Rex that might be chasing them down.
Yeah, Titans Grove is really, and as you mentioned, Nathan, it's a big rig kind of climb. I always figured that they will be flying up this when you talk about the level of athletes that we've got out here. Aerodynamics will be at a premium out here today. So it looks like we have a pass. A lot of the teams are going to be smaller as well. This time of year, you're going to see quite a few teams starting with actually, it's always a little scary going into it with 4, Nathan, but I noticed across the board quite a few teams starting with 4 today. And it speaks to the fact that we're coming into the middle of summer.
Yeah, it definitely does. I think as we have said a couple of broadcasts as we get into the summer, it definitely is something that will have the teams maybe struggling a little bit to find full teams, but they're making the best of it and still out here able to compete. Looking here at what it looks to be the second starters out there. So that would be Mercury. This isn't a Z-Sun team, though. They may be a mixed team. Hart, Lip Hook Crankers. Actually, they were, the second one to go. You see 2.0 in there. I think Z-Sun Mercury also have a 2.0, but they're not actually the second team, it looks like. So Lip Hook Crankers here, 17:19 at the 10K mark. That's considerably slower, actually. I have a feeling that has something to do with dropping off a rider. I think there was a rider dropped off, or...
You know what, Nathan? I've been around, so my forensic analysis here would be that they misjudged what their start time was, possibly.
I think you might be right about that, yeah.
Yeah, that would be my guess. Martin always eventually will figure it out after he is able to delve into it, but that's going to be my guess today. I don't think that's lack of ability. I think it's a timekeeping error. We'll see.
We'll have to wait and see how it plays out here. Martin will let us know for sure in the background. If you didn't know, the man himself who runs all of the WTRL data is always with us in productions for any of the WTRL events. Vikings Mjolnir battling it out with the Woolly Rhinos. The Lancets are there. Cryogen Emus, one of our featured teams today, 14-27. This is one of the best categories that we cover because it's always so incredibly close between all of them. Look at that, 14:48. It's 30-second difference. It's nothing.
I didn't think that, Nathan, but I completely agree. This is absolutely the most competitive category. I mean, these teams are all very familiar to us, and they constantly are deep into these epic battles. So Valhalla now, we're waiting for that split to come through. There it is. Oh, we're going to have a Donnybrook today. I am stoked, Nathan. This is the perfect category to be watching. Vikings Valhalla, 14-12. That's 3 seconds quicker than the RR Woolly Rhinos. That's a rounding error, to tell you the truth. That's how close it is out there as the other Vikings. I want to start an American Vikings team. I want to get in on this. Vikings are crushing it as a Vikings Mjolnir with 14:18. That's going to be within 6 seconds of the fastest time being set by Valhalla, then Rhinos, then Mjolnir. Then you've got Team Type 1 Lancets at a 14:24. They're 3 seconds quicker than Cryogen Emus, another one of our feature teams that we're in with here today. They're 1 second. What a battle royale. 1 second quicker than Z Sun R Mercury, Kirkmeyer Latte at a 14:39. So everybody is in this race, and we'll even factor in that lip hook cruisers there. We'll figure out what's going on, but I hope they keep riding and press on as we've got the Harriers with a 14:48 and TBR M8. Am I reading that right? 16:25. That's a operator error with my glasses.
Yeah, looking through here, we're going to keep on moving our way backwards and see if we can find these teams out here. As it does look like TBR M8 will be the first one that we can jump on in with. TFC, not seeing on the leaderboard at this point. So we're going to go ahead on back over to TBR. This is currently going to be the team in 9th place. I'm seeing with the 16:25, so a little ways back at this point. Here's going to be Cryogen. Is this going to be the Robins, though, rather than the Emu? So I'm seeing some
you might have a hybrid, actually, possibly. Maybe a Robbins rider jumped in with the Emus. No.
Interesting.
So this is where Cryogen, while Nathan is figuring this out, Cryogen has any kind of bird that you can think of. If you were at a dinner party and someone said, just start listing birds, well, they have more teams and birds than you could list. It's really impressive. It speaks to just how welcoming they've been. They've got racing at all different levels. I mean, Beth McEver, the Scottish rider, came from this program. She's now on Movistar, but boy, was she sensational racing for Cryogen. And she's not a unique case study. There's been a lot of talented riders at the high end, and then a lot of really good people that make up the body of what the Cryogen family is all about. It's just a tremendous program. Now, the Emus is who we've got in this category. Although, again, you're going to see the Harriers are also racing with us today. And I don't know. I mean, there's penguins, you name it, they exist in this family. So just like Zedsun uses planets or solar, or I should say, solar system, they use the world of wildlife and specifically birds here. One of the very few teams you're going to see with 7 riders out here today, and they are in full flight. So as we watch them now, again, Cryogen might be losing a rider, unfortunately. Oh, no, they're not. That's really good to see fighting back on right now. We say stall the beans, boys, just a little bit here to allow that rider to rejoin. So Cryogen, I can do some cross-referencing here and figure out which version we have, but you're going to see it's a very international, it really spans the globe when you talk about this team. And the Emu's in there at that 14:27, still within striking distance. As Nathan showed us the fastest times from the last time that we raced out here on Sand and Sequoias, Vikings Valhalla, they were the team to beat. They remain the team to beat, but boy, is it close there with the Woolly Rhinos just a couple seconds back. And then the Molnir team is just a couple heartbeats behind them out there right now. So you talk about the aerodynamics. Again, no severe climb on this course. The steepest pitch you see, I think it's briefly at 8%, but that Titans Grove climb, really thinking that around 4 is an average. Nothing that's going to put strain on the riders. They're going to just try to stay in the aerodynamic formation, as it looks like Cryogen might be picking up a TBR rider right now. I believe they're rolling by a rider who would have started in a previous team, or maybe I'm misreading that here.
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and jump across. This is a little bit of an error on the production side, but we'll get across over here to the correct category. As we're gonna jump in with Kirchmer, they're gonna help us get across. It looks like over to the correct category with Fisher. As we are in with KC, as you can see here, and this is gonna be Kirchmer making the catch. Sorry about the confusion there, everybody, as we are back into the correct pen. Lattes in the A's. And Cryogen Emus, as you can see here, this is going to be the Emus now, I believe. Or maybe the Harriers. We do, as you did say, there's so many Cryogen teams here. We may either be in with the Harriers. I believe this is going to be the Harriers because they were the first ones to go out on course then. They're in with the 14:48, everybody. So for a little while there, we did see the Mocha's getting a little bit of a feature, and they probably appreciated it for just a moment. There's probably like, wait, this doesn't look like anybody that we're watching on screen that we're supposed to be watching. Again, apologies on that, everyone, as we were in just for a moment with the B category / Mochas. But in with the A's now, A. Paul, K. Scott, Alkema, Norton, Lind, Jared, Richie, Robertson from the Harriers now. KC then making the chase, it looks like now. This is going to be the Kirchmer team hammering away, and they're going to be a pretty happy team right now, Dave, after making that qualification on the women's side of things into the Premier Division actually over the weekend in the playoffs.
Yeah, that was some exciting racing for sure. And this is another, I mean, it's really interesting, Nathan, when you look at this group, all of these teams are cornerstone type squads. They're also all apex predators, to tell you the truth. So you end up with that Kirchmeier team. That's really good to see, actually. But look at this nice visual right here. As you get two teams, there's a lot of concept bike on your screen there. So Kirchmeier here, they must have, I'm trying to figure out if they passed or were passed here.
Yeah, they're looking to be absolutely flying. I think they made the
just
pass,
a couple
actually, is what happened there. I'm assuming. But look, 1439, 1448. So not a whole lot of distance in the timings there between them. So interesting enough.
They always talk about poking the bear, but once a team is passed, they find another level for a while of, I think it's pride, hubris. There's a lot of things that go on there, but it's not rare at all, is it, Nathan, to see a team get caught and passed and then start to dig in and actually set the same time from the rest of the way there with the team that had just closed down a minute on them. Interesting how psychology comes into play.
Yeah, definitely. It's and having those teams chasing you down, Dave, is always, or chasing another team down. That is part of, at least when I experienced the TTT, it's a little bit of a carrot to chase, or to feel like you're being chased by a tiger. Like something's coming after you, and so definitely now Z-Sun are obviously on a roll. Oh my goodness! Here, Z-Sun coming on through with Jesper now hammering on the front now at this point. Dan Tryhard actually streaming over on Twitch. It looks like the Danish rider. Mosley's in there. Kev Ramora. Jesper Kakti as well as Ekberg. They're coming out of Sweden. And then it's going to be a Futabatha and a Berthold here. Wow. Oh, actually, Berthold here is actually off the back with KC. Not really. Needs to let these guys go at this point. And he's got a little gap even to his teammates now. So what a move here by Z-Sun. And they, at a 14:28, interesting enough right now, only 10K. And we're looking at 20K mark. These guys are about to have their 20K marker about to come in.
Holy cow. This is a ride that Z-Sun has been waiting for, a monster squadra that we're looking at right now. You see the Swiss, the South African flag here. This is another heavily international flavored team. The Danish flag right on the front there for Dan. As we look at what the pressure that they've been applying now, the team, after making that pass, just needs to take a deep breath and regroup here. They got by relatively cleanly, I would say, Nathan. That was especially, both teams are moving at basically the same speed. Well, obviously, Z-Sun is going a little bit faster here, but it is really hard when that difference is small. When one team is going 47 kilometers per hour and another is going 46.5, that can be a challenging pass to make. The cross-pollination there can be brutal. They're going to want to fix this split here, and they will.
Yeah, Z-Sun need to get things together a little bit here. 3 off the front. 2 seconds is a pretty big gap. And I think what may have happened there, Dave, is going through the Kirchmer team, they had to really go over effort at a certain point. That may have put a lot of riders in the red, and now the catch has to be made. And really, you can kind of bite off a little more than you can chew sometimes, with these situations. And I've got this, no problem. We're gonna dominate and push this team off, off our wheel. And now they're committed to being in front of this team. And next thing you know, it's like there's just nothing left in the tank. You emptied it. Sorry.
That's the big, really great point, Nathan, because a thing to remember here is it's not about how you feel. You're part of an organism, the team. It's how do we collectively feel right now. And that's where we've talked so often about communication using Discord. And that would maybe be a good example, right, Nathan? Just making sure everybody's on board for a surge before we do it. Although I hate to say it, but a rider saying, hold on for 30 seconds, I need to catch my breath, that probably doesn't play that well either. Not saying the team would be mean or negative, but it's not something anyone really wants to do. That's not a communication anyone wants to make. You don't want to be the weak link. So most of these riders are willing to suffer a little bit more. And that's kind of the mindset here that makes this such a beautiful sport, is everybody going to the wall for each other out here.
100%. We're going to jump in with one of our featured riders. This is going to be NVD Chef coming from the Cryogen Emus, hammering away right now. And as you were talking about having fans on, he's definitely got a fan directly on his body at this point. They've got a pretty solid time coming in. 30:05. They're only 40 seconds off the fastest time at this point, but Vikings Mjolnir, they're looking to be walking away so far with this one. Now, the fastest times, though, coming in, it's going to be Vikings at the top, 14:12, 14:18. They are really dominating so far. A lot of time to be made up by this Cryogen Emus team, but they're right up there with their Harriers. So they got a little competition in-house at this point.
Yeah, again, so this is Cryogen Emus that we're talking about, and so this is Mighty van der Schaaf.
Van der Schaaf. Yeah, he's the
Right,
captain.
the captain of the team. Yep. Yeah, very nice to see. It's one of the riders here that really helps, the glue that keeps the whole thing together. So he picked up on the 55th WTRL team time trial, just about the same time as we did, Nathan, right in that same month, I'd say.
Well, it's his 55th in a row, I believe that is.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought he hadn't missed one since the 55th one. Well, that's about the same. Actually.
It is about the same. It's almost exactly the same now that you say it, because we're like, in a couple of weeks of when he started was when we started broadcasting these. So you actually have that spot on right there almost.
Every now and then you can be wrong and be like a broken clock is right twice a day. So he's a big fan of F1. So that means he had a big weekend. There was a crazy F1 race this last weekend. So I hope you do make it to 100 in a row without any doubt. The team captain on screen right now. I'm trying to figure out where they are, and I will have to do more research.
You know, I like the explanation we got for Dutton. So on Dutton, this is gonna be Jeffrey Dutton, and the only information we got for Dutton is suffering. That's it. There's no other background information, just suffering. He just likes suffering.
Well, and Matthew Herman follows in line, completely other end of the spectrum, though, eating pies was his answer. So you can see that
that's all you got. And that's all you got from Herman was eating pies. So suffering and eating pies from Matthew Herman. Absolutely love
the question was, what type of racer are you, or what is your expertise? And those guys just get right to it. They wouldn't make the best radio interview, I'd say. But so I'm going to run through the whole team really quickly. We'll have a chance to meet all of the guys here. But outside of Mr. Van der Schaaf and Dutton, we have Jeffrey Dutton. We have Matthew Herman riding today with the Cryogen Emus, Duncan Farley, Peter Downs, Thomas Gallagher, Greg Broadbent, and Thomas Janka. So, guys, great to have you. That is an emu. It reminds me, in America here, now I realize not everyone watching, or even close to everyone watching, is American, but we have a insurance brand that features an emu on their TV commercials right now. So most Americans are emu'd out at this point. Do you know what I'm talking about, Nathan? Do you watch TV?
Yeah, not much anymore. I don't watch much TV anymore.
I wouldn't think you do.
No, I'm kind of I was thinking about that actually today with the new launch of the creators program with Instagram, and thinking how disruptive that's going to be, and how there's just a new generation that just is, they don't consume media the same way, even in like the same even time frames of media consumption are even changing, which is really interesting. But
fascinating.
I just put the emo with that face in there, kind of like, This is the answer
What
that we
up?
got. This is
Well, what
also
up?
suffering and eating pies. Like, there you go.
Oh,
That's
that's
about
your face.
it.
Look at the face on that guy, though. Our birds, like the Powaka Waka. Do you remember? Of course, you remember the Powaka
Of
Waka. Once you've
course.
stared
More
into cold, steely
Powaka-Watts. We
eyes.
need more
Yeah, yeah.
Powaka-Watts.
Was the Powaka Waka a cryogen bird, or was that someone doing the bird thing on their own?
I
I'm trying
think
to
that
remember
was
now.
a cryo. I'm going to say
Hard to say.
it
Other
probably
people have
was.
adopted. Looks like, Nathan, we're jumping in now with the Vikings, which
Yeah, but there's
so we
two
have three.
Vikings teams. So that's the thing.
There's two
We've got
cryogen teams. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll have to figure out if we're in with Mjolnir or if we're in with
Okay.
Valhalla. Valhalla went last, so I'm assuming, or they were close to last, so I'm assuming that this is going to be Mjolnir that we're in with here.
So Ardland is riding with the Molnir team.
Yeah,
So
so this is not
you
our
got
feature
it.
team today, but we just want to highlight them real quickly as they are currently sitting in second place overall. The Woolly Rhiners, though, they are at the front end of the entirety of all of this, so they are absolutely dominating at this point. And Woolly
Oh
Rhinos,
wow, look at
15 seconds up at this point.
the old. That's a little bit of a surprise to see. So Vikings Valhalla, Nathan, had a little bit of a stumble between 10 and 20K as they had
That might have
a
been the
small
climb,
advantage.
maybe, or maybe a weight up for a teammate. I mean, that's a pretty
I'm going to go
big
weight up.
jump.
I'm going to go weight up. Yeah, very, very strong team. I doubt that we'll have to find out later, but I'm thinking that maybe they had a rider that they decided to keep on board, but that meant bringing the speed down for a bit. It's kind of hard to explain with a team that strong. So unless you were there, obviously something happened. But the Rhinos making the most of it. They've got a 15-second advantage right now over Molnir. You can see Team Type 1 Lancets also will press on. 29-26 is the time that they've got at that 20K split, which is there or thereabouts halfway, excuse me. And again, about a half K as well from the middle part of the course here. So a halfway check right now, 29:10, which tells me, Nathan, that they're very, very close. It's within fractions of a second, to tell you the truth, when you extrapolate this for the course record today. They're right on that time right now. The Rhinos are.
Looking through the teams here, I believe we're going to jump in with a Z-Sun team a little ways down. 4 riders, it looks like, left in this Z-Sun team. Is this going to be Venus, though? Master of Cats. That's what this guy's name is. I'm loving this this name. I'm only seeing one Z-Sun Mercury in here, so perhaps some cross pollination between the teams, perhaps, is what's going on.
Jacob Leopoli, excuse me, is a Venus rider. Trying to do some cross-referencing here. As again, this is one of the coolest problems that we have. We've got 2 Z-Sun teams, we've got 2 Vikings teams, and we've got 2 Cryogen teams in this group racing. And it speaks to these teams are families and they grow. And when they do, you can only put 8 riders out on one team. So they'll form a second team and a third team and a fourth team. And if you're a political candidate, you want these guys on your side because they put a good voting block together out there. Even just to get the clothing sponsorship. Think about that, Nathan. If you're selling cycling clothing, I wouldn't mind getting the deal with Z-Sun R. You're going to be selling about 800 pairs of bib shorts.
100%. Loving that. Looking through here, that would not be a bad deal at all. Looking through here, we are in with Team Type 1, one of our favorite teams out there. I always we're almost on a monthly rotation when it comes to the categories. And Lancets, when they come around through the rotation, it's always great to see Team Type 1. This is a team, if you're not familiar with this, that's out there in support of Type 1 diabetics, families, and individuals who struggle against diabetes in their life, and still get out there and hammer away too. This Lambiek means
they don't. Yeah.
Not struggle.
No
they conquer. They're
No.
victorious. I should say that. I should say not struggling, rather conquering.
Well,
I would say in life.
So Kim Lambach is Danish, and that's where Novo Nordisk is located, which is really the umbrella brand behind a lot of the insulin that diabetic folks take, and they support that Novo Nordisk change. So this year, Nathan, is the 100th anniversary of the discovery of insulin, which if you had type 1 diabetes before 100 years ago, you died. There was no hope for you. So that was such a landmark moment in in the timeline of world healthcare. That's one of the big ones, without any doubt. So that 100th anniversary is here. The team is racing and showing us that at that world tour level, you have human beings that are type 1 diabetics that can race in events like Milan San Remo, 300 kilometers in 6 hours and some change.
Amazing.
It's quite
Absolutely
incredible.
amazing.
It's
Yeah.
quite incredible.
Always awesome. Lambic, Smith,
Is
Murray,
everybody aware
Mirage,
of the 100-year thing?
Beiser.
Am I beating a? Am
Beiser.
I beating?
No, I wasn't aware at
Beiser.
all. I was not
Good.
aware at
Okay, good.
all. So
I'm glad I'm
that's
sharing new information.
super helpful, actually, Dave, and an amazing highlight, actually, for the conquest of the medical field. The field of
Yeah, think about that. Think about just
absolutely
like,
awesome.
yeah,
It's
I
miraculous. There's nothing short of miraculous, for sure. Miraculous. Those discoveries.
So Nathan,
that are
the
there.
rider that you're talking about here now, Bijzer, is Dutch, Julian Bijzer. He's on
Team
the
Experimental
Lancets.
Originally,
Uh-huh.
this is one of the longest. I've been commentating on Julian from the get-go.
Oh,
Literally.
really?
Yeah, like before there were events in Zwift on Watopia, he was a Team Experimental rider, one of the first in-game kits of all time. Julian Bijzer's been around a very long time. I didn't know his association, actually, with
Me either. And
type 1 diabetes, actually, until he joined TT1.
we have an employee, a colleague of ours at Zwift, Kim Little, who rides with him on the experimental team. They must know each other quite well at this point. That's a lot of time together on a esports team.
Definitely. Now, Rhinos, this is the top team currently, 29-10. Hammered away at the front right now. It's going to be Koff. And that's a 5.0 on the front. This is whoa. That's 201 beats per minute. Lockley, Tandy, Ellis, as you can see.
My
Welch,
goodness.
I mean, whew, flying. And the times are starting to come in. Harrier's
man.
there, 45:38, but that's only at the 30K mark. Still, the leaders at the fastest time of 20 is going to be the Woolly Rhinos that we're looking at right now.
And Nathan, you can feel that the Rhinos are relentless. They're not letting up at all. They still have that fastest time. Now, even though we're populating that 30K split, those teams started earlier. The teams start at 1 minute intervals. So Woolly Rhinos we'll have a time from them pretty soon, expecting a very, very fast time. They look tremendous right now. This is the team that's going to be given a run for their money. Again, one of our two Viking squads here. This is the Valhalla edition. And this is Danielson that we're in with now, Nathan. Now, they are not out of this one by any stretch of the imagination. Again, this is Arlid Mikkelboost. Arne Danielson is a rider that we've got right now, Nathan, focusing on here. This is one of our top teams, always a contender. We had Frank Adland Frank is on the Molnir team. Want to make sure I stick here with Valhalla. Johnny Ronas as another. So these are all Norwegians. I don't know that there's a non-Norwegian Viking at this point. In esports, I realized that I think that Vikings would be more than just, it was before, I think there was, Norway and Sweden and Denmark and all of Scandinavia. But in this case, Hansen, Runar Kenneth Hansen is a Valhalla rider. Vegard Haugen and Stig Eidesmo. Also, that's a nice looking jersey right there. Let's see.
Yeah, they've
Nathan,
got the WTRL World Championship jersey on, is what he's wearing. If you're looking at
that's a beautiful look.
I mean, that's Arne Danielson that we're looking at right now. Been on Zwift since 2015, participating in over 60 team time trials on Zwift. Diesel train is what he says he is. That type, just keep going. Calm as an evening breeze, no matter what the watt. He's pushing. Oh my goodness, I'm loving this, man. His hobby is a cyclist that started cycling at 15 years ago, and it doesn't compete much. Well, except for he has a world championship jersey on that came in from WTRL. Cycled Lillehammer Oslo, 192
So
kilometers, and yeah, go ahead, help me, Dave.
Oh yeah, well, so I lived in Norway for a couple of years. I think I mentioned that. My dad was a professor at University of Oslo, so I was only 7, 8 years old at that point in my life, but super fond memories. And Lillehammer was the site of the Olympic Games. They held the Winter Olympics there, and so that route there would be sort of like. Well, so yeah, I would say fair to say something like riding from New York to Boston as far as too significant a start and finish point, and everybody would know it. 52 years old. Uh, get this though, 11 telescopes, Nathan. This man has providence over
Does he? Wait,
11.
what?
Yeah, yeah. He's married, has one son. He has more telescopes than bikes. So N+1 applies
Wait,
to not just
that's
bikes.
the wrong way. It needs to be 11 bikes and 8 telescopes.
8 telescopes.
He's a stargazer taking 1,000 pictures and videos of, e.g., of the sun. Find the best among them, time-consuming, and compile them together. Have suggested to just use an iPhone, but he claims it won't be the same. Travels around the world to see the total solar eclipses. We were just talking about this morning, a little bit about the ability to see the different ways that we are looking at the sun. So, didn't we have something along those lines this morning here?
I was not involved in that.
Oh no, Martin
have
said
been on.
something. Martin said
Oh,
something.
okay.
Martin's the one who said something about missing. I believe there was either eclipse this morning or
I wish I'd
Martin's
had that
typing.
conversation. I was on Zoom calls all morning.
At 4
long
a.m.,
before
3 a.m.
the
his time.
Yeah.
There was an eclipse this morning actually. So at 4 a.m. my time. So I
A
wonder
lunar eclipse, I guess. That's extremely cool.
if
Martin's up in Calgary for people
we
wondering.
need to
So
just
that's
have Martin.
fairly
He has to. So it was a solar eclipse. It was a solar eclipse, but obviously it was dark. So I don't. Anyways, Martin's got the
Again,
details
we're not
here.
space. You know what's funny, Nathan? Here we go again, where we're going to find out how little I know about eclipses. Unfortunately, because I'm not sure what we were talking. Who was the Earth blocking the sun, the moon? What happened? Excuse me. And then I realized I want to focus on rhinos because they've got a 10-second advantage. Go with what you know, Nathan, right? They're at 30K, check. It's RR Woolly Rhinos with a 43.31. That's going to be exactly 10 seconds quicker than Team Type 1 Lancettes. Nathan, the Lancettes are in the conversation for a massive, massive victory if they can pull it off. Now, rhinos are one of the most dangerous animals in the world. When you talk about the big five in Africa, hippos are actually kill more human beings by far than lions, elephants, or water buffalo. But rhino are right there. Never get between a rhino and the river.
No, don't. They are charging right now at the front. 10 seconds is it though. Now the interesting is the Team Type 1 Lancers have really brought some time back, it looks like. Vikings Valhalla though still on the menu. And I think maybe we did see this over the weekend in the team time trial. You know, teams that are super experienced, a lot of times they will reserve a lot till the back end of a course. And so we just see Vigard here actually giving us a little hand gesture saying rock on. Absolutely loving it. And I have a feeling they're going to bring something. They're going to bring the heat, I think, a little bit later. We do have Vigard on screen. This is his current wattage, upper left-hand corner, and that's him in the lower right as well. I mean, this is no joke at this point. And this is getting into the climbing, making his way to the second wheel right now. And a little bit of smile on the face. Liking that. That's going to put some extra watts. I've always been a big believer that when you're smiling like that, it definitely puts a little more energy in the legs.
That's good for 10 free watts right there. I tell you what, Vigard right here is a maniac. This man is certifiably a maniac. He did the Lofoten Insomnia. So, Nathan, we can talk about what that, but basically think racing for a day without sleeping. to be honest. Absolutely bananas. Vega Haugen right here is a super, super strong all around racer. Nathan, the Vikings are coming. They've got the bit between their teeth. They right now are 18 seconds on an updated split. It's not over. In all honesty, when the Vikings can see the shore, they start paddling even harder, and they're about to raid the front of this bike race right now. It's rhinos, it's Lancettes, it's Vikings. Oh my! Two Vikings teams now sitting third and fourth as Vikings Molnir are slotting in at fourth, and they are. Let's see here. Okay, then we go to CrowdGen the Emus, then Kirkmeyer Latte, Z-Sun R Mercury sitting in seventh fastest time slot now with the 45-14 CrowdGen Harriers, eighth, Lip Hook, ninth. So Nathan, here we go. Absolute Donnybrook for the next 10K. We absolutely are going to find out who wants it more. Get ready to suffer, guys.
Absolutely. And right now we're looking at Runar Hansen. Runar Hansen is all arounder, smart racing, and is glued to the rider in the front, sucking up all the draft he can, is what we're being told. But he's made the lead group at this point, as I do believe they maybe had to drop off one rider, and I believe that's going to be, Iverson might have been with the other Vikings team, actually. So we also do have Johnny Roans. Johnny Roans is the C rider who eats Watts for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but he hates the climb. He's a car painter by profession and have taken care of the virtual bikes, of course. Now, wait a second. So does that mean he's the fashion police of the team? Is that what's going on there? Is he the one that makes sure that he's satisfying all of the Anna all the criticisms? We encourage him to eat a lot. We're hearing for Johnny Roans, so he stays in C.
They don't want to have him
they don't want him to leave the C category, so they keep Johnny around.
They keep trying to fatten him up so that he can't get into his ultimate fitness because they need him. He's got such a strong engine. I like where your head is at, guys. It speaks to Nathan. I saw, there's a lot of riders here that really enjoy the group of guys that they're riding with and the level that they're riding at. And I was thinking about this as you were doing a tremendous job with Anna Russell with the broadcasts of the ZRL, the knockout round for the promotions. And there's that Brontosaurus. There's teams that don't want to advance up into Premier League because not all of their teammates can race in that time slot. And they're very happy staying right where they are. And it makes so much sense to me because it's not always about advancing, even in pro cycling. Just because you can get on a world tour team, it doesn't always mean that's the best thing for you. Because if you're on a continental team that's getting you to the races and treating you with respect and you're comfortable with your situation, it might not be the best thing for you to jump onto a huge team where they never race you. If that makes sense. Sometimes you're in the right place. Even if you can move up, you don't always need to or want to.
Looking here, that's so 100% true. I mean, the reality of the kind of relationships that are formed here and making sure that everybody can stay cohesive, a lot of times will be the higher priority.
Isn't that true?
So true. So absolutely true. Now, looking at Bren, though, here, definitely want to highlight this rider as well. Leaf Bren, because he's an enduro rider. And Saturday ride is typically 300 kilometers, everybody. His typical Saturday ride.
It's funny when you said enduro.
I thought of big tires right away. So over in
endurance.
Yeah, so
yes,
over
endurance,
in that's just the language barrier. That's all that is for us.
Absolutely.
I think enduro means in Norway probably endurance. For us, enduro means big tire, big hit bikes. It's a style of mountain biking, yeah. But on the second TTT with Valhalla, he suggested that we should go a little bit easier. That was the winner. I'm loving this here. And there's so much personality behind this team. I absolutely love it. And they're obviously committed.
Great, Nathan. That, though, is exactly, do you remember my comment about 20 minutes ago where I said if you were the rider that said, hey, I'm not doing well, hold off on the pass, you don't want to make that comment? That's exactly what he's talking about here. He's saying he was saying that. He's saying maybe we should go a little easier, and they didn't. Basically, they kept going hard. So you can ask. They're not always going to respond the way you want. And that's why I learned sometimes just don't ask. Don't even bother. It's funny how the dynamic in these teams, there's so much. Well, and it depends on the team that you're on. We've talked about that too. Some teams like to stick together and get everybody to the line. Other teams, it's just about the fastest route to the finish line. And if we have to lose guys, so be it. Depends
Look
on
at
how competitive you are,
Danielson. Look
really.
at how calm and controlled he looks on the front here, pushing 3.5 right
This
now.
is a This is what a world champion should look like. You see, the only thing moving basically is his legs, just a tiny bit of rocking there because he's making so much power. But this is a man who has ridden his bike for decades and decades, Nathan. You can see it in what we call the souplesse, or that pedal stroke. Just his body now has become a pedaling machine.
Yeah, absolutely awesome to see. And you can see the focus here. He's making sure they're keeping it steady. They need 4 riders. So there's 1 rider falling off at this point. 2 riders, actually. So Rowan's has to get back here at this point. As Danielson pushes on 2.7, now backs off. He'll actually maybe be the glue that brings everybody back together if he backs off a little bit more. Hansen's got to close. They're getting a little, I think the struggle is real here at this point because they're on a climb. They've got to finish out strong, and they want to bring that time back. They can see the rhinos up there. Look ahead. They can see the gap in that 18 seconds with the 1 minute that was between them, right? As you can see, Hansen to the rhinos, it's going to be a big ask to make this back. And with how many rhinos are together at this point, I'm not sure it's going to happen, but they're trying to do it, and you can see the cohesion in the team, which is absolutely always great to see.
I mean, Nathan, it goes without saying, I think, that the Woolly Rhinos are in the command position right now. It's their race to lose. You made a great point about the numbers. They look motivated. It's going to be very tough to overhaul these guys, but that's what we're here for. We're in for the fight. And the Lancettes at 10 seconds back, they're going to be charging, as will Valhalla. These teams bring out the best of it in each other. There's no question, though, that because of this competition, Nathan, I'm estimating we see a new course record, which is going to be incredibly rare to see course records being set in June.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be interesting. You might be right about that. What are we looking at? One hour flat, right? So
yeah, call it 1 hour and just a little bit of change.
36 seconds, and it was Valhalla that had it. So course records being broken on the men's side of things in the Platinum League in the Latte.
They might break their own course record and end up losing the course record, to tell you the truth.
Amazing. And it goes to show
that's what I love.
Categories aren't getting easier. They are not getting easier.
So flippin' competitive. I mean, this is really, really cool to see. And Nathan, you could shuffle the deck next week and see Kirkmeyer winning, or Vikings Molnir winning, or the Emus winning. So these teams, although to be fair, the Rhinos, Valhalla, and Lancettes are the cream of the crop right now. They are really, really killing it.
Definitely want to head on over to the women's side of things here. Everybody, that the race is going on the women's side of things. We are going to be covering it. They are only 15K, though, into their 42 kilometers so far. The men are just finishing up. KC, now Kurtzmer on the front here. VL1, Z-Sun chasing them. Hydra, Angular, Speed there as well behind them. WTRL D. Oh, this is actually going to be the Mochas. I actually jumped into the wrong. This is I did that across the board actually with the with both sides of it. But hey, look, here's the Mochas. They're hammering away, and always great to see. Always great to see a lot of. We love the Mochas. We love the Mochas. We do need to jump on over to the A category though, as that's going to help us out to get an idea of what's happening with them. But you can see Angular Speed for a moment with Faith, Chan, and Elliott.
I love the Angulars. Angular Speed, Angular Momentum. They've quickly become one of my favorite programs out there. Even though I wasn't good at math. I didn't hold that bias.
I think
an anti-math bias. Yeah.
There's actually, there's so many crush pods that I just jumped in with another crush pod. This is not even the right category. I just picked a crush pod out of the pack, and they brought us over. There's that many crush pod. There's that many crush pods.
So this is the classic, Nathan, good problem to have. because what that is really the theme of today is how so many of these teams have multiple. We've known this for a long time, but it really hit home today with the coverage. But Crush Pod 2 is the group that we've got some intel on that we're really excited to share here today. This is a program that we caught on to because of their posters. We were talking about that at the top of the show here, and that'll really start to become popular again. But CrushPod has been noted for fantastic posters, great team energy, and I see CrushPod 2 are in the A pen for latte today. Allie Strafford and company. Allie Strafford is her racer name. Allie Robson is her Zwift name. So sounds like life changes have been made. So many of us are seeing good things starting to happen as she's the team captain and still discovering all that is Zwift, but she certainly is a big time climber out there. You'll see her out on Alp to Zwift quite often. And she's working on her sprinting, which I know more than one rider is in your boat. So have fun with that process. I hope you got a good coach. Makes a big, big difference. And she's been Zwifting for 3 years, although, Nathan, this will make you happy. She only recently started racing, and we love bringing new people on board and into the Zwift community. Zwift Community Live is all about your racing experience and having fun. And it looks like, Nathan, you found Cryogen.
Yeah, we're in with the correct category now as well. Apologies again about that, everybody. Up front, we jumped into the incorrect pen, but we are in there on the correct pen for both the men's and the women's side now at this point. We'll get this stutter to go away in just a moment as well. But as you can see here, it's going to be at the front and Cryogen. This is just the team that I believe had started first, if I'm not second. Sorry. Second there, chasing down two guys who did start first. They did bring back that minute already, actually, it looks like, and that's why you do see two guys ahead of them on their first time up to the top of Titans Grove, Queen of the Mountain, and into the springs and the other way into going into Fuego Flats in just a moment. Crush Pod, our featured team, I think are a little bit motivated though, Dave. Only 5 seconds between them and Adam Racing, but they are leading things out right now.
Oh boy. All right. Well, we certainly found some great teams to follow today. I want to give all these ladies a shout out. It is quite a mix. And one of the first things that Nathan has you learn when you start with Zwift Community is the difference between a Australian and a New Zealand flag. So I can tell you that this is Emma Porter and Heather Neal, our two New Zealanders here for CrowdGen. Annaline Visagi is a South African rider. Canadian on the team is Jenna Daig Han, Brazilian, Marceli Milani, and another Canadian, Melanie Stevenson, making up Cryogen. And Nathan, let's see what we've got with the throttle open here. They're going to start hitting a little steep sector. This actually, if you're trying to make the pass, helps out a little bit. So we got an interesting moment here in Titans Grove.
It looks like Sousa giving a little bit of a dig over the top, actually, which may give a little draft to Crowdgen as they come through and some extra speed, 50 kilometers per hour. It actually did.
Helped, right?
Yeah. Nice job, actually, there from Sousa, Alamao, and Ignacio from the Two Guys team. Still solid work here coming from the Two Guys team. Still holding on at a 16:36. They're not that far back, actually, even being caught there by the team that started behind them. That is a 1 minute gap that has been made up over the first 18K. One CryoGen rider still trying to get on terms, though. Needs to come flying through. It does look like Sousa a little way off the back, though. There's two of them. There's the D Sousa and S Sousa. Sisters, perhaps, or some sort of family relation.
I'm going with absolutely on that. So Nathan Tugas, here is the team. This is a Portuguese outfit. Absolutely massive fans. There's a nice movement of racers coming out of Portugal here. For a moment there, I thought they had 3 riders, and I was concerned, but it was just a little bit of a scrambling after that pass was made. We had riders all over the shop for a moment there, so they're back together as 4 and reorganizing here. Good job, Tugas. I'm a big fan of this program.
Absolutely.
I like their social media.
I'm wondering, Two Guys, I mean, Portugal has been for a long time a big part of the world of Zwift racing, actually. I mean, a really big part of it. And it's great to see different teams coming out of this country. PTZ originally was one of the main teams. One of the first kits in game actually was the PTZ team, and two guys now another team that's really made a mark for themselves coming out of the team time trial actually, and then transferring over to the Zwift Racing League. So Deborah Sousa, Soraya Sousa, it's gonna be Susana Alamo and Sandra Ignacio, all coming from this two guys team right now, hammering away, and they're currently sitting in sixth place, making the Platinum League as the top six right now. We'll see how they match up with the rest of the categories now, the rest of the zones throughout the day. If you didn't know, this isn't the only time that people are racing. It's a 24-hour adventure every Thursday, starting at 2 a.m. my time. So the APAC region goes first, and then heads all the way through the Pacific region on the other side of the world. So you go from one end of Pacific, and then it goes all the way around the globe, and then we end up back in Hawaii. And a lot of times I'm racing with people in the West Coast and Hawaii when it comes to zone 14. So 1 through 14 in the middle of the day, we've got the Platinum League, which is the fastest of the fastest. Sousa now hammering away 2.5.
Say around the world in 80 days. Martin does it in 1 day. Every week, like 7-Eleven, he does not close on Thursdays. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely loving it.
Neither do you, for that matter.
I don't either. I don't either.
Now, at least it's not Tuesdays and Thursdays for a few weeks here, as ZRL is on a short break at this point.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, which is kind of, which we talked about this on World of Zwift actually with the latest feature I was doing on the playoffs, and I think definitely a little bit of a break was needed. Even last night on the group ride, there was a conversation about it and I didn't bring it up. Somebody talked to me last night about the Zwift Racing League on a local group ride, talking about, it's really good to get a little bit of a break and looking forward to what's coming and get some energy and race outside and then and then do training still like we're seeing this, but not as like, got to be there every week, and if you don't show up, it's going to hurt the team. There's kind of that pressure, and that's taken off, so you can just use,
absolutely.
You know what I mean? Use it as needed kind of a thing, rather than you have to show up to, and I don't want to put it that way, but at a certain point, you start getting too many things going on at once, especially
Let's keep it fun.
Keep it fun, exactly. So, but there was a look forward, though, and like excitement, definitely, alongside of like a little bit of a breather.
Well, there's a great you don't know what you've got till it's gone, or even how can I miss you if you never leave, right? So it's sort of along those veins. You need to take a break to appreciate things, recharge. All of those points are valid, Nathan. I completely agree. What have we got here?
Renegades or electrons? Electrons. Adam Racing Electrons is who we're in with.
There's no catchy saying for electrons like renegades mount up. Electrons mount up, because
you didn't take enough science classes or something. There's got to be some sort of electron like remembrance thing about how the electron does this with the protons, and then nucleus of the atom. Come on, there's got to be something.
A song about electrons has to exist. I will find it, no doubt. A catchy electron lingo.
Somebody in chat has got to be bringing us one right now. I bet you anything. There's somebody saying something.
So the ART electrons here, Nathan, it is right behind. So they're the team that is chasing the Renegades here.
Yeah, so we can go. Well, they're going to be chasing the Renegades. And I didn't know the Renegades was all Danish, actually. This is a whole Danish crowd.
Look how, so we're getting right now real nationality-based teams, which is, to be honest, it exists. There's a healthy number of these teams, but it's not dominant by any stretch. Typically, Nathan, the teams have one nation that might have half of the members and then a mix for the rest, I would say, if you wanted to talk about what's typical, or they're all one nation. Can be relatively common, but we're seeing a lot of the latter here today.
Yeah, definitely. Interesting enough to see within this latte crowd that it's definitely has a um, very, very much national.
Nationalistic
Yeah,
vein, right?
yeah, a little bit of a vein to that is all about one country hammering away across. Not, I mean, not across all the teams here, but definitely a few of them, as you do see now.
When we do
Renegades.
ZRL racing, with the ZRL, Nathan, as you well know, the when you get to America's West, it's almost entirely Canada and America, and those teams are almost entirely mixed. I don't know that we have one team that's just American or just Canadian. So it really becomes a North American racing scene. Zwift is great at bringing down borders. That's one of the uh, side benefits that none of us, I think, could have seen coming with Zwift was that the community is great, but also this cross-border, joining together nationalities, doing this together has been extremely good for mankind.
Interesting to see here. This team is a team that was formed off of some in real life stuff going on already. I'm seeing they actually do have a Facebook page. If you go to their Zwift Power profile, they've got a lot of information there for the Renegade Riders. RRT is what they are over on Zwift Power. And they are Danish based training society. Everyone is welcome on this team. It says, hopefully meet new friends and competitors. So definitely community based. They host Renegade Race Series 3 times a week, it sounds like. So that they're very involved community of racing in the cycling world here. Um, Loving everything
In
they're about,
Denmark, huh?
encouraging people. Yeah, encouraging people to race clean in their true weight. So they, let's see. I mean, there's tons of really great um, principles that they seem to be going by. Very cool to
Good for
see.
them.
Come and ride and have fun. And it looks like this is going to be one of the women's side of the teams. Beckendorf, Gottlieb, going to be Oin Norin and Maha that are hammering away the five. Is it going to be 5 riders left with the team? They
Between
currently have the third place locked up almost, it looks like.
Yeah, taking a look at those splits, Nathan, I did want to mention, but we've met so many great Danish Zwifters, Louise Huback, Michael Knudsen. Um,
Oh,
yeah, it's Anders Foldager. It's quite a group.
I get a little bit like that competitive part of me gets a little bit of a shudder when you say Michael Knudsen.
That guy's a beast.
I go, whoa. I mean, that's gonna. I
Yeah.
think of group ride
Well,
pain.
you
is what I
have to
think
race
of.
against him. I just know him as a really nice guy. For you, you're in a mortal death match with him on these climbs. He's a great guy, and so are you. So I don't know who to root for. Both
Well,
of you.
I mean, you have to be thankful for the people who sharpen you. There would not
Yeah,
be a
I tell you
race.
what.
There would not be a race without the guy showing up at the start line next to you. You're about something bigger than yourself, which is the art that you are both trying to refine. So
You,
I am never
you
about
can't
this whole.
sharpen steel with aluminum, Nathan. Steel sharpens steel. And that's why you
Exactly.
guys, when you clash like that, it makes for better racers. And we
I
all,
mean, well, don't you
uh,
use like another kind of like he might be the one that's a little bit harder that ends up sharpening me more, just to be honest. But anyways,
Palladium. What was the metal swords that they had in Game of Thrones? Whatever that was, you want to be, right?
jumping in with
30.
Evo here, real quick. Evo for Peter, still putting that hashtag in, loving it. Amanda Hunt and Charlotte Claire ready. Groove Salad. I mean, if somebody named, I mean, that's not, I'm loving the name, but Groove Salad is going to be the nickname here coming on in for this Evo Meteors team. Absolutely loving that. And level 42 Zwifter for Groove. Pretty cool. Kate Fargus, Nicole Pengele, Tori Spratt, and Wendy Schroeder all hammering away and currently holding down fifth place overall, 33-11. Battling with the Roadrunners.
Crush. Oh, we love the Roadrunners, no doubt about it. There's yet another CryoGen feature bird, but look at this 3140 Crush Pod 2 riding out of their skin out here today for that 20K check. So, Nathan, right at the midway point, they've got a 24-second advantage over Adam racing the electrons. Never count the electrons out. They've got a positive charge. 32.44 for Renegade E. Cryogen, the Roadrunners at a 33.07, 33.11. So very close here as both Two Guys and Evo Meteors are tied there at that same time. And that's only 4 seconds off of the fourth fastest time of the day here. Oh boy, you can feel
Crush
it now.
Pod are
Crush Pod
so
starting to ramp.
motivated. You can tell
They are.
They are just absolutely
These
flying
ladies,
out here
man,
today.
they are
From
not.
the get-go, 5 seconds. Then it opened up to almost 15 seconds. I mean, they are, crushing it. They're living up to their name. Laura Newell on screen right now, hammering away. And Laura here, as you can see here, is really focused. Look at, I think her Zwift is off to the left here of her
Yep.
scene.
Oh, yeah.
As you can tell there.
She's not. I completely agree with you, Nathan. What she's doing is just locked in a laser-like focus. So she realized that she was going to fall in love with Zwift once she got on it, and that is absolutely the case. As soon as lockdown came around, she made sure that she got the last trainer from her local supply, and man, was that a good call, because she now is full on Zwift person. And I'm really happy, Laura, that worked out that way for you. She is a really cool person in this inspirational group of women. So she grew up in Zimbabwe. And so,
that's the
we
flag.
talked
That's
about
the flag next to the name there on the
yeah,
right-hand
we talked.
side.
That came up a couple weeks ago, didn't it? That we noticed that flag and how beautiful and colorful it was. So just like Chris Froome was from Kenya, she is found cycling and it changed her life, no doubt about it. She is up in London now, but obviously someone who loves Zwift. I'm really, really impressed here as you learn more about her. But I think it's important to note that really what we're doing is keeping the cake weight off. She is a massive fan of cake.
No, I'm loving this. As far as a personal note here, sports it's in Zimbabwe. It was all about team sports with hockey being my passion.
Field hockey.
Is that going to be field hockey? Okay.
Sport. Yes.
Okay. I was gonna say. So we're not talking skates. We're talking running.
No. Absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
Gotcha. You're right.
Yeah, and then I'm also seeing that she's passionate triathletes. It's where they love to swim. And then bike and run started and has taken her many fantastic locations across the world, racing amateur for Team Great Britain, European, and World Championships, with the highlights being 3rd place at the Europeans for middle distance and 7th place in the TT and road race at the UCI Championships in Denmark. Wow. So the focus in her eyes on the left-hand side of the screen there is also the focus in all of the sports it looks like she participates in.
Yeah, this is a next level human being. Nathan, I just have to note that would you look at the quality of feedback that we got from all of these women on this team, Crush Pod? So this is a team that is clearly, what is the word? Dedicated, thorough, from the top to the bottom. I mean, I'm not knocking the guys earlier with the short answers, right? But these women all took the time to really, really give us quality here. And the guys are fine too. Absolutely. I get it. People are people, and I don't want to ever try to change who someone is in their core, right? If you're a short answer person, that's totally cool. But look at these ladies, Nathan. This is absolutely awesome when you look at how much feedback they gave us here.
Yeah, really, really great. There's a ton
really
of information. Really, very appreciated.
Really appreciated.
It's absolutely awesome to see.
It takes time to do that. I mean, every one of these women sat down and spent a half hour doing this for us. And so we want to make sure you know that we appreciate it.
Jumping across. We're
Good team here. They look great.
More. I believe we've got Robin up as well.
Everybody's still on your screen, Nathan. They haven't dropped a rider. 8 started, 8 in the group as they've gone through the middle part of the course. They're on a record-setting ride right now. We'll be checking in with our results. I know everyone loves that at the end of the show. But who is our silhouette?
Robin Sela. Robin Sela from Crush Pod. And this flag, I don't know. I might have seen it once before. I do recognize it once, but I would be honest.
Wow.
actually not.
I'm gonna we're gonna have to do some research here because that is cool.
It is very always great to see.
I have no. Okay, so rather than guess and show disrespect, I'm gonna say,
Virgin Islands.
oh, or like,
It's U.S. It's U.S. Virgin Islands is
yeah,
the
yeah,
country
yeah. So it's a
originally
U.S.
represented.
territory,
Yeah.
one of our territories.
But
I love it.
grew up in Cary, NC. Works civil litigation firms. May start adding real estate in her practice areas. Also, part-time reserve Army lawyer for the National Guard. I mean, talk about these dedicated individuals. Absolutely
Can I
awesome to
stop?
see. Project
I'd
manager at
like to
startup
stop.
software. I mean, then taught English in Seoul. I mean, this is like
No,
traveling the entire world.
no kidding. What an interesting person. But Nathan, I'm going to call um, BS on her because she says right in the middle of one of her paragraphs that she doesn't consider herself an endurance athlete. And I'm just going to say that you're wrong.
Oh
You
God,
are. She's
she's with
crushing
me.
it. I mean, if you're doing this, Nathan, if you're riding at 40 kilometers per hour, 27K into a team time trial like this, you are an endurance athlete. You are killing it. This is
Yeah, it started. I
awesome.
mean, I'll jump on the back of that and the encouragement there as well. I mean, started Zwifty in 2017 to prepare La Vuelta ride around Puerto Rico, not the Vuelta, obviously at the
In
tour
Spain,
level.
but the
Yeah, in Spain, but around Puerto Rico because having a hard time riding during daylight hours. Started doing races on island and got to compete in Caribbean Cycling Championships in Martinique in 2017. Her husband raced also. It sounds like so. Absolutely, definitely an amazing athlete. That's for sure. Great to see this rider right now. Currently 166 watts, 165 beats per minute. She sits in at 2.7 right now, and they are crushing it as Crush Pod. Currently the leaders out there. We'll be coming over to the 30K mark in just a moment to see how things play out. It's them versus Atom Racing Electrons at this point. We'll see if that nucleus can get things together and chase down a few of the protons that Crush Pod are throwing out there.
look at the watch she's making for someone who is as cool as a cucumber. She rode her bike from Philadelphia to San Francisco in 2005 on nothing much more than a whim. She saw an ad at the library one day, took it home, and her mom said, "Yeah, you should do that." She did. Wow. That's awesome. That really is.
Now there's
So,
this is I love it when we get this. So we're gonna bring in a rider who's not able to race tonight, but is going to join in on the Zoom call. We do not have interviews at this point, but I love it that they're such a part of the world of Zwifting that they're just hanging out. Hello, they're giving us the cheers. I'm loving it. And I mean, it's great that this is a part of their life. Like they come and hang out for the WTRL TTT and enjoy this time together, and encourage their team on. This is great. This is Non Deardoff McLean, not able to race tonight, but will join the Zoom call. She says hello and from Cycling Holiday in France. So they're over in France, obviously.
oh, that
Started
explains
drifting in
the
October
wine.
2020 and joined. Well, come on. I'm just going to leave that one alone. Original Crush Prop team in January 2021 through the NGNM Women Crush Wednesdays ride. That's how she joined it, actually. It was fundamental to creating and recruiting riders of Crush Pod 2. Initially took on the team captain role, enjoys climbing, particularly a cobble climb, both on Zwift and in real life. And she's got pretty cool in real life experience as well, Dave.
This is extremely cool to see. So this is what it's all about, to be honest with you folks, is these folks become more than friends. They're tremendously supportive. I know we can go on and on about it, but it really is one thing that does a heart good. As we're sort of coming out of these COVID times, let's keep this spirit going. In this case, ladies here with Crush Pod. Look, we're in
Wait,
the
are you
middle of
are you
June.
seeing this? Are you seeing this, Dave? Competed in the 4th Tour de France Féminine in 1987 for the USA against the likes of Jeannie Longo. So very pleased to see the women's race will be revived for 2021. We'll be watching this time. I've ridden the Paris-Roubaix ride with my husband Michael 4 times.
See, that's one thing that in 1984, when Laurent Fignon won the Tour de France, they did it right. Which is what's so interesting is we've gone so long without a Tour de France for women. There's been obviously the Tour de France where they have a single day of racing, but in 1984, Marianne Martin won the Tour de France Feminine. It was, and that's exactly what we're talking about here. That was an era there that Nan Deerdorf McLean would have been part of. That there was
So
a
cool.
very strong women's racing movement in the around the world, but also in the United States. This is the time of Rebecca Twigg and Connie Carpenter, but Marianne Martin, who's alive and well in Boulder, Colorado today, was the first ever Tour de France winner for women. First men's Tour de France goes back to 1902. So we've been, and then unfortunately, it has been very lacking in a women's Tour de France. But the good news is the organization, the ASO, has announced that they're bringing back a stage race for women in 2022, and there's a women's Paris-Roubaix that has been rescheduled
Ooh.
for this October. So
Look at this
it's some
189.
positive
Sorry to interrupt
signs.
you here, but there's some suffering going on here with Madeline. You can see it in her. This is gonna be Madeline Hatfield. No, no, it's absolutely awesome of what you're with what's happening there. It's kind of what you just did, Dave. Is you brought and this right in front of us too is bringing this cohesion from that time of this first go almost at upping women's cycling and putting women in the spotlight, and now having this now come full circle with someone who was
Yeah,
actually involved at that time with Nan Deerdorf McLean.
so cool.
So cool.
And now
Absolutely
she's part
cool.
of this next movement because Zwift is doing more for women's cycling, I think, than any other private entity in the sport. And like the Tour de France Feminine virtual that happened, where the women got the same prize money, same respect, same broadcast. So, hey, Nan, I hope we're making headway. I really do, because you are a pioneer. Although this is not Nan, this is going to be Madeline Hatfield that we've got. And she just started Zwifting in 2020, Nathan, during the lockdown there in the United Kingdom. And that's another thing. Look, doesn't matter when you showed up. I'm happy you're here now. And that is really like she's a hard worker. Look at the pace that they are setting. This team is really in it to win it here. They got their eye on the prize, Crush Pod 2 with that 47-11, Nathan. I tell you what, Madeleine's a big part of this team right now, and they've got a nice advantage at this point as it looks like they're going to start working through some traffic here.
Yeah, and I'm loving what I'm seeing here from Crush Pod as they push on together here. Hatfield needed to put up into 192. Oh man, it's right there.
Oh,
Needs to hold on. Looks like it's gonna happen. Some
she's got it.
serious
Come on.
struggling going on as
She's
you
a
can see
fighter.
here.
Yeah.
Made it happen. It looks like as Langhammer gets back onto her wheel there. Krab's gonna be at the front, 3.8 watts per kilogram. Madeline actually right almost through them. Now backs off. She's getting a little bit of reprieve. They're
Well,
gonna get
I
into the
think
tough part though
Madeline,
of this, because now it's going to be into the climb. So that initial kick in the Titans Grove, it's always kind of a punch in the face.
I'll tell you what I think Madeline was doing was going and helping a teammate back into the group, Nathan.
That's a good point. I mean, look at that. She's doing that head cock though.
She's killing it.
That I could see. There's that moment where you start to kind of like want to push the
She's an
pain out of your
expressive
legs.
rider.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah. No, she's like a Julian Alaphilippe. She's got a lot going on here, but I think she's very strong. She's expressive is the word that I would use as a rider. Some are very stoic, but she's got a little wiggle going, and just she's got a different way of getting these last watts out. Remember, we were joking about clenching your foot the other day for the last 5 watts. Well, here you go. She's got her own style. I'm a big Madeleine Hatfield fan.
You know what's really cool is I'm reading here that she enjoys road cycling, but never competed. Well, now she does. She stopped competitive sports after leaving university, where she rode and was a part of playing some soccer. As a child, British schools orienteering champion. Zwift has helped her train and learn more about racing. I mean, she's back in. I mean,
She's
this is
evolved.
a sport now. This is a sport. Like, so she's actually a part. Like, so cool that she's back into competitive sports now as well.
I love
And
it.
a mom,
She's
as a mom,
Nathan.
good point there. Great
Yep.
point.
She's also a doctor. Okay, this is insane. What isn't she at this point? She's a doctor in geography. She swum the English Channel. Okay, you are a legend, Madeline. Dr. Madeline Hatfield. Super. Wow. Does Crush Pod have some kind of like you have to be a superstar to be on the team deal going? Is that what this
Pretty
is?
amazing. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Isn't
Pretty
it?
amazing. Yeah.
Remember when
We
we
are
got the
seeing.
email saying, hey, you might be interested in Crush Pod 2? There's some cool women on this team. Well, that was the most understated email of all time.
Look in here. We're gonna jump on over to Regina Langhammer, and you're right. I mean, now there's some rainbow bands on that right hand shoulder, or left. Is that her right hand shoulder? I wonder if that's for style or what's happening there.
I think it's style, and it's good
Looking,
style.
it is good
I would
style.
wear
Started
those.
Zwifting in 2017 to keep some fitness over the winter. Better sprinter than a climber, it looks like, Regina. Coming out of, I believe, Germany. Yep, Germany. And but she does like to help
It's a
Zwift.
German band. The black, yellow, and red is certainly very German looking. The thing that's throwing me off is the little blue at the bottom there. But you're right, Nathan. She's been Zwifting for a while as well, since 2017, as we were saying. Now, handball. Okay, there's another one where I'm happy that I had some
That's
European
super
experience.
competitive. So competitive.
So yeah, and we're not talking about like racquetball where you're whacking a ball against the wall. This is more like soccer with your hands. It's a very unique sport that you don't see played in America. Yes, we have an Olympic team, but most Americans have never even seen handball being played.
Looking here, played ultimate frisbee and tennis, and did a lot of outdoor sports. Started road biking after knee problems. It looks like about 12 years ago. I joined Transalp with mountain bike last year. Wow, that's pretty awesome. Bike packing Trans Germany we're looking at as well. No experience in real life racing, but she's hammered away. I mean, wow, she works as an orthopedic surgeon, Dave.
No, well, she calls herself a hobby orthopedist now because she's cut back her hours because I think of what's everything going on in the world here. But again, like I said, it looks like Crush Pod 2 could rename itself the League of Exceptional Women.
Look at this. At the age of 60. At the age of 60,
Really?
She says she never liked to torture herself in sports, but now she is with the team time trial. Loving it. She says must be due to the Crush Pod and the team, great team spirit, and her English improves. ... slowly. Loving it. Loving it. This is great here as Langhammer, and they continue to crush it. They've only opened up their gap to the electrons.
Well, what a well-rounded, comprehensively awesome person there. And man, does she look like she was cut out for this, Nathan? That's going to be her sitting second wheel, the purple wheels there on the Tron bike. And she's been doing a lot of work up on the front end of this team as we're picking up on Regina Langhammer here. Who have we got now, Nathan?
We're in with Caroline. It's going to be Caroline Cross now, hammered. And also out of Germany.
Oh, guess when she started Zwifting? About a month ago.
What? Oh my goodness.
No, well, March.
So yeah, so about 3 months ago on her dad's Wahoo bike. This is awesome.
That really is. So Joanne from Crush Pod asked her if she wanted to get involved. She said, why not? She's riding on a team that looks like they're on their way to a big win here today. Boy, I'm going to dig in. She has to have had a strong athletic background. And here you go. She's been doing weightlifting, CrossFit, Olympic lifting, and cheerleading along the way to get here. She got a road bike out when COVID hit, started cycling, and next thing you know, she's got her absolute A game going now. I mean, Nathan, I don't think I've seen a rider look as comfortable as what we're seeing here on our screen watching Caroline Kraus.
Yeah, Caroline Kraus only started, as you said, in March. And pretty cool that she got hooked with the TTT. Very, very great. No family in her work, it looks like, as she's a youngster. So I like the new generation thing, though. She's still in university. In her master's at Munich, so very busy in technology and chemistry.
Cello player, which is pretty. I've always thought that anyone who can play the cello or violin seems like such a complicated instrument to me. Maybe it's just, well, I think to most people, or if it was easy, we'd all play the cello, right?
Yeah, we would. we would. Well, I mean,
Or
definitely.
maybe, I don't know, but you know what I'm saying. It looks very challenging to me.
Yeah, definitely takes a lot of orchestration. Is what I'll say. A lot of
Yes, good
talent,
word.
a lot of talent, a lot of talent. That's for
I'm
sure.
I
Now,
just am a hack guitar player, so that gives you a feel for where you have to know what you are and what you're not in this world. I am not a cello player, but she is. Again, it really fits with this team. It seems like there's a lot of brain power along with lung power and strong legs on this team, as well as great attitudes.
now we do have a rider that I think was the early sacrificial lamb. It's going to be Curly Wild out here, and I think she put in the early effort.
Hey, Kelly.
So good job here. Joe Wild is her racer, is
Joe.
her real name, I believe, and then in game is going to be Curly Wild. Started drifting in 2017. She was working full time. Two very young children, and her husband working away from home Sunday to Thursday. Wow. So training at home was her only option. After you're on the turbo, Zwift had to be done. It's experienced group rider, new to racing properly on Zwift. It's very cool. So you hear
She's a
these
mom,
awesome
too.
stories. Yeah, a lot of awesome stories like this, where you have a situation where this is the only option. And with the community, I think it's always a huge attraction.
Well, and I have to say that seeing that her dream is to find a job that lets her spend more time in the fresh air, and I really hope that your dream comes true because this is the kind of person that you want to pull for, no doubt about it. She's into music, specializing in something, Nathan, I think you'd find fascinating: the psychology of music. And she also, you ready for our fun fact? Plays the tuba.
Why don't we
Only
just
person
start a
I've ever met.
symphony? Not only is Crush Pod going to heal everyone, they're going to have their own symphony as well. I mean,
The cello, a tuba, a
cello
trombone
and
player.
tuba.
Yeah,
Oh man, one of the riders. I mean, and then Ali Strafford is just gonna orchestrate it all. It looks like so very cool here
hey,
as
and we should thank Joanne Ernst. I know she's not on this team, but isn't she the godmother
she's out
of
racing. She's out racing though for the other Crush Pod team that we did see in the
on
Mocha
Crush Pod One,
category. Yeah, on Crush
right?
Pod. So I believe it was. Yeah, huge shout out to Joanne Ernst who initiated this conversation to get this team highlighted as well. So
Thank you.
absolutely
Yes, what a
awesome.
great team.
Big shout out.
Hey, and if your team wants to be featured along these lines, if you qualify for platinum, reach out and certainly if you feel like the team wants to do it, this is the kind of thing. Not for everybody, but if your team wants to tell your story, boy, do we enjoy telling it. Makes the race so much more fun. I want to hit the splits really quickly, Nathan, as I see you've got another rider who's obviously working hard. Look at that smile. That's my kind of racer right there. Crush Pod, the team we're in with a 47:11, is our fastest time. The Electron sitting second fastest, Renegade third, Cryogen fourth fastest at that 30K. And final check before we bring them home. A lot of teams are within 5K of the finish right now. Evo Meteors right behind the Roadrunners there. Roadrunners in fourth fastest time. Meteors fifth, then Two Guys, our sixth fastest team out here today. So, Nathan, there's an update after they've all gone through that check. This must be Elena.
This is gonna be Allie. This is gonna be Allie Strafford that we're looking at.
Oh, I
Uh,
see. You've got Elena
yeah,
Allerson
I have
on
her
the.
on. I have her on.
Yep.
But I'm having a trouble finding Allie in game for some reason. But I would definitely wanted to highlight the team captain. Oh, Robson. So Robson, it's Robson in Zwift name. Apologies. So right behind there. That's the reason why. So as you do see Robson here, 177 beats per minute. I was looking for the wrong last name. Apologies, guys. So Ali Strafford here, still discovering as new to all of this, it sounds like, but the team captain. That's cool. Do like climbing up the Zwift, getting better at sprinting. More of an endurance athlete, so enjoyed longer races rather than the fast and the furious on the Zwift for the last 3 years. Only recently started racing, and that is a big shout out again to WTRL and the Zwift Racing League and everything that's been going on, I think, around all that with the organization that has set things up. That is a story that seems to come up over and over and over again, nonstop in the last 6 months to a year. The highlighting of this sector of Zwifting and the genre growing, especially with women's cycling. How many times have we read that story? It's been, I think, I would say, this is not an exaggeration. On average, when we do these highlights, it's half of them. I mean, I'm loving it. It's so great. Maybe
I
even
agree.
more than half.
I was at dinner the other night with some folks discussing Zwift, and someone asked me, "What's the most positive thing, if I off the top of my head, that I could say has happened with the Zwift phenomenon?" And I was saying, for parents, it's not just moms. Maybe moms stand out a little more, but there's no reason why that should be the case. Both moms and dads have found a whole new avenue to be able to exercise responsibly, and it has been a game changer, Nathan. And I love the fact that with our ZRL races, I can think of just off the top of my head 10 examples of moms who would not be able to get their competitive juices flowing without the ZRL, and they've really used it for their benefit, physically and mentally. To tell you the truth, it is awesome.
Yeah, it is absolutely awesome. I'm loving the support structure that's out there for all this, as well as the support structure that they create on their own that we're seeing.
People are catching on. I mean, aren't you seeing that, Nathan? We're gonna, by next season, it's just gonna be incredible.
Look at Robson. Look at the smile on her face at the front here. 177 beats per minute, hammering on the front of this pack right now, as you can see. 185, pulling them along at 44, and they're in for a win. They know they can see that they're going to take this down. I think there's a huge amount of there's some exuberation that starts to come on through as you can see the finish line coming in. You're kind of really confident at that point. It actually almost pushes you on to do more. Now, at the same time, if they felt like they faded it all, they might be like, "Oh, do we got to bring something back?" It's not over till it's over. So, I mean,
no, it isn't. But I think now they're playing with the house's money, Nathan, which is the best feeling in the world when you're racing, knowing that you're on the throttle. Yeah, they are into the final, let's call it 2K. And so Regina Langhammer, we're looking at now.
They let her go. Turn. They let her. Yeah, I think that's what happened. I just wanted to highlight that they are also very organized, that they said, okay, who can hang on, who doesn't, take a big turn. If you're done, you're done, and continue on.
And we'll see
Talk
on
about
the
a
podium.
well-organized, well-organized team.
And I'm not even kidding. We'll see on the podium is right. She'll come rolling in about a minute later. No problem at all. Get cleaned up. And I think that is the way that you do it here. This was a next level ride from Crush Pod 2 here today, our featured team. So let me give another shout out to Allie Strafford that we have here. One thing I love, Allie is mentioning, Nathan, that she has been working for environmental remediation, which is up in the northwest of England. And she's been working for the same company for 33 years. So what a dedicated employee. And she's planning on retiring at the end of this year. And I would just like to say, congratulations, enjoy it. Obviously, you're coming into it with a lot of fitness and we'll have a tremendous time. I have a feeling that there'll be a lot of traveling and bike riding in your future.
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight real quickly one of the other riders out here. This is going to be Alacron, Elena. Alacron. Yeah. Newest member to Crush Pod 2.
American. Couple Americans on the team. So that's nice to see. I'm Elena. I was trying to figure out where in the U.S. she's from. I have a feeling. So she's
Boulder,
done
Colorado.
All my favorite races.
Boulder, Colorado. Yeah, near you. She's right down the road, Dave.
I grew up in Boulder, and so she works for Cigna Healthcare, their data analyst, and just had her 20th anniversary with the company. But Nathan, she is all about some of the greatest races in the U.S., like Tour de Gila, which we've had fun broadcasting, and Latoja, which is Logan to Jackson, a 200-mile race that they do there from Utah to Wyoming. Talk about epic. No doubt about it.
She is embedded, I'd say embedded into the world of cycling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also raced triathlon for many years before getting into bike racing, it looks like. Thought I'd race one triathlon at each distance. So she did the sprint, Olympic, 70.3, and Ironman. then be done with it, but got pretty hooked. She said she's done 8 70.3s. Did the 70.3 national world championships in Las Vegas and 2 Ironmans, Ironman France and Cozumel. Wow. One of her favorite triathlons was the Alpe d'Huez long distance triathlon. This person loves suffering. Oh my goodness. After the triathlon, she raced bikes for a couple of different women only teams. And it looks like we lost our apologies, everybody. We lost them for just a moment. We can get them back though real quickly. As we did have a few riders just finishing, which it does jump us out of the out very quickly. But back in with the explanation here. I mean, as you did say, there's a lot that she's done and is a part of in the world of. She's raced everything: time trial, crits, road races, hill climbs. Really love doing stage races. Wow, I mean, this is a very experienced rider. I thought you meant just was a part of spectating, but it looks like she was a part of all of
no,
this.
she's doing them.
Yeah, she was doing that.
Yeah, that's just for folks who aren't in the United States, she really has hit all of the cool events all over the country here and lives in such a sweet place too, Boulder, Colorado. So they are, well, they were the last team to, well, were they the last team to start? Did they come in as our top ranked squad?
She's 18th, level 18 Zwifter, Elena. The only thing she has here is last.
Yeah.
I mean, she's so new. June 3rd is the only Zwift Power result that we have. I mean, this is like,
welcome.
Wow. Welcome to the world of Zwift racing. I'm absolutely loving this.
We're going to hear a lot more about.
Oh yeah, I think looking into the reality of season 4, I think Crush Pod is going to be like all of a sudden on the radar.
Yeah. All right. So
coming to the finish line.
This is
like almost everyone is across. This is going to be the final team to cross the line. They're right here, actually. So just coming across the line there. It does look like they probably took this one down. We'll get results in just a moment here as the riders are coming in. I just saw in the Zoom call all the ladies kind of giving each other virtual high fives, clapping for each other. And I believe they're all on Discord here. I'm liking, this is great. So I'm just going to throw this on real quickly here. I mean, there's some clapping going on. They're all they're all encouraging each other and lots of smiles, so it's great to see. Appreciate them giving us all the highlights and showing us everything that's been going on with the inside. You get the inside scoop, Dave. Pretty awesome to see that, Dave. The way that we're able to jump in through these virtual scenes and see what everybody's up to and what their ethos is and how they connect. It's so cool. And this is happening every week, just so everybody knows, like, we might bring it into the broadcast, but as you can see, they're connecting virtually all over the world in the game, but also through other ways and means to see who each other are and communicate in ways that have so much meaning.
I agree. Yeah, we're just kind of getting a quick snapshot of what it was like with them today, but clearly these women are dedicated, well, and men for the guys. And every team, Nathan, just like in real life, has its own vibe. Some teams are serious and all business with a friendship element to it, and other teams are more like drinking buddies, right? And however it works for you is great. And I think that's noteworthy there is you don't have to be hyper competitive to have friends. You don't even have to be incredibly competitive. I think all it really requires is that everybody is, I think the word is just reliable. Show up and do your best for some of our teams out here. So find a team that fits your level. Much like Nathan, wherever in the world you are, not every bike shop is for every person. You got to find the right shop for you, and then when you're comfortable, it just goes great. Same thing with the team. Not every team is going to fit everybody, but when you find the right one, you know it, and then you're off to the races.
Let's go ahead and jump on into the results. And the men have been waiting probably a little while to get their results, and then we'll jump in with the ladies that we were just featuring as well. And then I know you've got a plane to catch, Dave. So let's go ahead and get this going on here. WTRL Team Time Trial number 112 on San Sequoia's Cryogen Castros for the Dopios on the men's side of things. 54-34, not beating Volendam, though. Volendam's course record was a 53-27, so it stands. On the river, Blur, the Blur boys, 55-59. 124 back. Wow. Cryogen really walking away. Down to Dirty Vipers there coming on through with some diapers on as well. That's going to be in for third place. Then it's going to be Z-Sun Hercules followed by Z-Sun, Red Giants. World Lead Drifters in at the 1 hour and 54 mark. And on with the Espressos.
Yeah, long day of racing for sure, as it was an outstanding ride from TSZ Damsugar with the 5550 and Espressos for the win and the gold medal that goes with it. TSZ Waffles taking silver today. These are both Platinum League teams. Now, these are our 10 fastest times up to this moment. As Nathan mentioned, there's still teams headed out to race later today, but a 55.52 was less than 2 seconds back for second. Dirk Diggler in third for the bronze medal at less than 6 seconds back. You can see how high the level is and how competitive it is. 6 seconds separating our podium today. There's only 12 and a half back division. In fourth, INC Euro Aliens 2. In fifth, Evo Warriors for sixth. Eat Dirty Steamers in seventh. No thank you. Atom Racing Team Nuclear in eighth. Team CLS Dynamos in ninth, and Evo Espresso for 10th. Only 108, Nathan, separating 10th from first two. Sorry there.
No, that's a great point. That's a really good point. Again, the
over 42K. Yeah.
That's awesome here. Now, a little bit more separation in the Frappes. Kurtzmer Frappe with 57.38, but it was very close with Dirt Time Chasers there with the 57.53, both in the Platinum League. Relentless there from Zone 1. Early morning times were coming through, and they held on for a podium with Relentless there, 28 seconds back. Aerodynamics, 58.32. R3R ACDC at fifth for the Platinum League, 58.34. Atom Racing Team Photons, 58.40, followed by Z-Sun Saturn, 58.49 in seventh. Team CLSB 52s in eighth, followed up by Eat Dirt 007 in ninth. Electric, that's your last word. Electric Spirit Company, excuse me. Last word coming on through in the Platinum League for 10th place.
Let's take a look now at the top of the table with the 102.10 in the lattes, and the gold medal winning team is Eat Dirt 2. Congratulations, guys.
That's from Zone 1, Dave.
So the next, good catch, Nathan. The next 5 are all Platinum League teams, but Eat Dirt 2 out of Zone 1 for the lattes. This is the group that we were in with today. That's what threw me off at first. I was like, how did the Woolly Rhinos not win this? Well, there was a team in another race earlier today that was phenomenal. I mean, unbelievable. 10.5 seconds quicker than the Woolly Rhinos, who they were in an unbelievable battle of their own with Vikings Valhalla today. So you can see that's going to put Valhalla in with our third fastest time so far, and the current bronze medal Team Type 1 Lancettes in fourth. So the race that we were watching with the Rhinos, Valhalla, and Lancettes gets upstaged by Eat Dirt 2. Vikings Molnir in fifth, Kirkmeyer Latte 3 for sixth, 3L in seventh, Z-Sun R Mercury 8th, Aeropress in ninth, and then the Cryogen Emus are rounding out our 10 fastest times up till now, Nathan.
Jumping on over to the Mochas, it's going to be the RR Sumatra Rhinos, also charging in the first place. A pretty big gap between them and second at 148, but it's the Spooky Blokes coming in for second. Cryogen Robbins there coming in for third, followed by Z-Sun Nebulin in fourth, Engulf in fifth, TFC Hurricane in sixth. Very close between these fourth through seventh, as TBR Renegades and TFC Hurricane are in sixth and seventh there. Valhalla Dragvandel in eighth. It's going to be WMZ 4 in ninth, and Eat Dirt 2 coming in for 10th. We're going to go ahead and reload this page, and we are looking at the Viennas with Catherine Curry probably leading things out for Sisu. I Race Like a Girl.
And it was a 1:0. Well, really, let's just call that an hour flat. Wow. So that's an incredible ride out of the Platinum League today for Sisu. I Race Like a Girl to take the gold medal. Cryo RDT Renz only, so 2 minutes 45 seconds back. I'm reading that correctly. For second, TFC Vixen in for third, and the bronze medal Sox for Watts Aero Unicorns in at fourth, and BBB rounding out our top 5 teams that have competed so far today in the WTRL.
Vienna Espressos, followed up by the Vienna Frappe. Sox for Wattside Sox there, coming in with a 105.45. WTRL What's Up 2 in second with a 106.02. HDR Amazon's in third, 106.11. Crush Pod crushing it as well in the Frappes, and that's going to be a 106.29. Evo Comets in fifth at the 106.53. Two Guys Breezes in sixth at 110. Big gap actually going back. Vegan Bees in seventh, followed up by WMZ Sapphires in eighth. And on to our featured category, and it's going to be the Vienna Lattes. And there they are at the top, our featured team.
Almost a minute faster. They had an incredible ride today. It looks like everything was clicking, Nathan, for Crush Pod 2. Congratulations, ladies. Thank you so much for being a part of the broadcast today. We absolutely loved it. Vienna Latte, Gold, Standard, Crush Pod 2. Great ride from Adam Racing Team Electrons. They'll have their day. They'll take the silver medal today as they were in a real battle with Renegade E as they end up just very, very close there with the bronze medal. It's Herd of Lemurs for fourth, Cryogenic Roadrunners in fifth, Evo Meteors for sixth, BRT, the Mighty Hell Kittens in seventh, and Two Guys Farofias in eighth. And that's a lot of Platinum League teams at the Zone 1 and the Zone 8 sprinkled in there after a great day of racing out on what was a 42K course that really tested our teams out at Sand and Sequoias.
Absolutely awesome. As we're looking here now is the Viennas with Z-Sun Quasar, HDR Delights, their first and second. Big, not a big gap actually, only 9 seconds separated them. Customer Vienna Latte coming on through for that third place. Z Scott Alba in fourth. Race C Euro in fifth, 2:45 back. Live by Cycling, always awesome to see them out there. They are in sixth place. It's going to be Kirchner Vienna Latte there in seventh. Angular Speed in eighth. BRT Inferno Kittens Burning Hot in ninth. And it's going to be Zed Sun Hydra hammering away in 10th. And I'm just going to double check and see and make sure. Is this going to be right? 113. There it is. Greatest London Flat. One lap. 31.2 next week. And registration closes at 8 p.m. UK time, 2 p.m. Central Time on Wednesday. We will be covering the Mocha and Vienna. So next week, if you want to get in on these awesome features, make sure to email us. Oh, you will actually see an email come on through if you are in the Platinum League. And make sure to get a hold of us, and we will get you in for a feature. Well, Dave, you've got a plane to catch on to Tulsa Tough. I've got a mountain bike race this weekend. Watch out for all our socials, Dave. I'm in agreement. I'm making an agreement with you right now that you didn't know about, Dave. We will be posting this weekend. So go make sure to follow on. There's going to be posts going on everywhere because bike racing is on all over the world in real life as well. So make sure to follow up with us throughout the rest of the weekend. We will see you, though, next week for number 113. I might actually be racing that TTT next week. I'll have some space. Well, actually, Toad starts soon, though, too. I got to think about that.
Man.
I got to think about where we're going to place everything. I actually was supposed to race tonight in the, well, not supposed to, but there was a miscommunication, and they almost signed me up. I was like, you guys, I got to race my mountain bike this week, and I'm not doing the team time trial at 8 p.m. before I race a mountain bike on Sunday.
Yeah, Nathan, I hear you have to start prioritizing. Here's the upside. You have been through a big block of building your fitness, and now you get the payoff, and that's the very, very best part. So go race your bike. Have a blast. I'm sure, Nathan, that in Tulsa, I will have multiple Zwift Community Live folks coming up and saying hi. I encourage you to. I look at everybody. I mean, Nathan, at this point, we're family. It's become that.
I mean, let's do some sort of connection. If you find anybody, tag me up. I'll tag you up, whatever, this weekend. And we can even do an Instagram Live. Who knows? If something happens, we'll try and connect. It'd be really cool because I can't wait. Actually, I've thought in my mind last night, I was riding home from the group ride thinking, I'm going to want to give these people a big hug the moment I see them when I get to these races. I mean, it's so great, actually. So awesome to see the community connecting in real life as well as online. Great job to our featured riders as well as all the riders in the WTRL Team Time Trial number 112. We'll see you next week for number 113. Everybody have a great weekend. And as always, ride on.